Alrighty. Welcome, chat. Time for another evening with Max MSP and random technical difficulties. But, that's just part of the game. Welcome to everybody. I think things are working now. I just had to restart Ableton. It decided to freeze as soon as I went live, but, c'est la vie. Alright, let's get things going here. Change up my windows so that I can see chat a bit better. Oh yeah, so it kicked you back to the starting soon screen, Beard Pills. Well, we are indeed starting, but yeah, hopefully it'll work out. First, I guess I just want to say a big ol' welcome to a couple of new followers. We got Dr. Crispy, thanks for following, and Scabist, thanks for following to you as well. Nice to have some new folks hanging out, and hope everybody can hear me. Yeah, seems like I'm not muted or anything. Cool. Oh yeah, and other news things for followers and really anybody is we have a Discord now. So I'm going to drop that link into chat. Got that started last week, and yeah, it's a good place to share your music, share your max patches, ask for help with your max patches, or other programming languages are welcome as well. We're going to do stuff in Ruby on Rails, we're going to do stuff in C++, we're going to do stuff in JavaScript. We're going to be all over the map. And I want to build a nice little community, a happy little community, where we can help each other out and enjoy the struggle together. So yeah, come and join us there. For tonight, we got our shit all hooked up. Yep, we're getting data. All seems good. And what are we going to start with? Let's pull up our notes file. So, last week, we added toggle mode. It was a success. It was a good thing. We get to mark this with a happy little done. It is no longer today's mission. We got it so that we have a latch mode, and when we press L3, we can toggle our notes on, and when we press R3, we turn it off, and we press select, and we get all notes off. So we gotta check out the map of our dungeon and see what we got left. We're actually getting really close to finishing the MIDI controller part of the Silver Machine. If you imagine this as a little spaceship like I do, these are our controls. And then soon we get to return to Max for Live and actually build out the rest of the engine, so that you can either use this Max patch to control your own synths, whatever you like, or you can just open the Max for Live device directly if you just want to make swooshy, awesome sounds without mapping any MIDI. So that's where we're at. We got some cleanup stuff to do. So let's look at our Do Not Forget list here. We need menus to assign scales, so we did that actually. We need menus for MIDI output device and channel for all of our buttons, so that we don't have to manually select that every time. So that's a thing we should do. We might not do that tonight, though. I'm not in the mood. This is a quick little bug we can knock out. We need a load bang for our velocity on the D-pad. Because as you'll see shortly, you have to hit a button before it makes sound. That should be a quick and easy thing, she said as her last words. What else do we have? And we also have to make this coal save with all of our scales in it. That's a good thing to remember. And I have one more feature in mind. Let's look at our feature list, which was up here. I'm going to mark that feature list. Right hand and left hand buttons are controlling notes. We have full scales on all of our buttons. Joysticks are both mappable XY controls. Let's mark these with done. This is the fun part, chat. We have velocity control on left-right D-pad. That is done. Except for the bug, but we already mentioned that below. We have octave control up-down on the D-pad. Not on... This really wants to autocorrect D-pad to dead, and it's really upsetting to me. But we get to mark that done. We have our toggle mode, and we have our panic button so that we can turn all our notes off. We have no real need for a menuing mode, as it turns out, I would say, but having start be a way of going into MIDI map mode, that would be a nice little thing to add, because we haven't done anything with the start button yet. So I'm going to make a note of that below here. This is an important part of finishing off a project. This might not be quite as much fun as actually making the sounds, but this is an important skill if you ever want to get anything fucking done. Like, you need a solid goalpost for what version 1 looks like. You need to keep track of your bugs so that you don't forget them and get surprised by them later. And making a list of those things as you go, it will save your sanity. So our menuing mode, I think we don't really need any giant menus. I think the biggest thing is just turn on and off MIDI mapping mode. That might be good. But I'd even call this a nice to have. Not actually a necessity for version 1. Turn on, off, MIDI mapping mode. Right. So I think that's all of the stuff on our earlier feature list. And all of the stuff on our don't forget list. So we got our bugs in there. Right. So that's bugs. This is a nice to have list, so not necessary for version 1. And then features. I think the last feature I want to add, and this should be kind of fun. I'm going to give this a shot tonight, though this might be a multi-day kind of feature. I want to be able to button mash. Yo, what is up, Teeth Engraved? Thanks for hanging out. We were just kind of compiling the last of our dungeon map for this, because we're getting close to being done with this part. We have the controls of our silver machine here. And yeah, so last feature, button mashing. So I was actually watching Teeth Engraved play a video game when I came up with this, and I thought it would be real fun if you had a feature where either for any button or for all of the buttons, we have some kind of a timer system going on so that the faster you are pressing your buttons, the more you're mashing, the more a MIDI CC goes up. So you could like have a filter that is turning up the more notes that you play. So the more into it you're getting, the more this knob is turning, and you could map it to whatever you want. And I think that would be super cool. So let's try and describe that in our notes here so that it's a little more clear. And let's try to think of what the simplest way to do this feature would be. So I'm going to say any button press is probably the easiest. So given any button press, the closer together in time our button pressing is, the higher a particular MIDI CC should go. And let's see. If we don't press buttons for a while, this is the other part of it. We have to think about the opposite case. If we just sustain a key for a while, or we let the controller go and don't play, the CC... When I say CC, I mean a knob. So talking about MIDI continuous controllers, just like our joysticks. So the CC should slowly go back down. I think that's going to be neat. I think that's going to be a nice final feature to add in here. But first, let's hook up a synth. We want to hear it when it works. Are we sending? Yep, we're all loaded up and sending here. So we'll pick a scale. Let's start out with major. It's a happy little scale. It's the happiest scale. And let's pick us a synth. What synth shall we use today? I was going to use Reason, but then Ableton died when I tried to open Reason. So we're not going to use Reason, it turns out. Let's try Absinthe. There's lots of stuff to map in there, I bet. Let's find a preset. Ooh, like, I don't know, acid ripples. Oh, I have to enable the friggin' MIDI. Yep. We got sound. That's fun. Let's see what mutation amount does. Yeah, that does some stuff. How about random amount? Cool. Let's look at a few more presets. That's just the first one I grabbed. Black Hole Surfer. Oh yeah, now we're talking. This is the one. What do you think, Chad? I think this is the one. Nice. Alright, we got a scale. We got a synth. Let's map our knobs. So, I'm gonna turn map mode on so that we don't overwhelm Ableton. And let's figure out what we want to map. And let's make sure our toggle still works. So, L3 to turn toggle mode on. Select to turn the notes off. Yep, that's working. Alright, so let's see, what knobs sound good? Wow, yes, Teeth engraved that exactly. That's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. Well, there's a distortion. Doesn't seem like it's doing too much, though. Alright, not so much on that. What else can we do? I have to, like, relearn this synth at some point. It does sound really cool. Aw, thanks, Teeth Engraved. Glad you think it sounds rad. Brightness? I feel like these knobs aren't doing anything. Oh well, let's go over here. Okay, we got a filter. That's just volume. That's not exciting. Right, we got assignments. Patch. Okay, here we go. This ought to have some shit in it. We have an oscillator going through a filter. See what happens if I twiddle the phase. Okay, not much. How about transposition? Okay, you definitely hear that. I liked it where it was, though. Alright, well, filter it is. That's always a winner. Maybe some more resonance? Wave shaper. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Here's another filter. There we go. That's doing shit. Alright. Well, that's easy enough. Wave. Oh yeah, this has a really nifty thing where you can actually draw in your waveforms. But we can't really map that to the joystick very easily. Okay, that's alright. I want to reload this. Notes off. That's nice. And I have a better idea. We have such a nice sound here that what I'm going to do is just put effects on it and we can map to those. How about that, chats? Let's grab... Let's put a pedal on this. Turn the output down a bit, turn the gain up. There's some distortion. Yeah. Alright. Do the wet dry there. That's one. Oh, teeth engraved. The module they're connected to might not be switched on. Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. You're probably right. I really need to spend some time with Synth. It's a great synth. Alright, so that's one thing we can map. Let's go to MIDI map mode. Let's put that on left joystick X. Oh, have to actually click it. There we go. Next, let's do some delay. Maybe a short delay with some feedback. We'll start with the dry, wet down. And let's give it some modulation. There we go. That's fun. Yeah, let's map that to something. We'll do that one on the right joystick Y. Okay. And let's do some reverb. Reverb is nice. And we'll do the wet dry for that. All right. Let's put that. Yeah, let's do wet dry on. What do you think? Oh, Teeth Engraved says me too. Yeah, we should really both just jump into Synth at some point. It's awesome. MIDI map, dry, wet. So we've got distortion on the left X. Let's put reverb on left Y. Alright, and we got one more thing we can map right now, but we're going to want a fifth thing once we have this new MIDI CC. Let's do... How about chorus? Let's add some chorus. That would be under modulators. Chorus ensemble. Let's put it before the delay. Nice. Give that some warmth and some feedback. Slower rate. Cool. Yeah, let's put that on right X. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, and we have to remember to turn MIDI map mode back off. There's our distortion. And nice. What else do we have here? On left, we did reverb, right? Yeah, that sounds nice. And on the right one, chorus, delay. Yep, that's working. Love it. Alright, chat. Nice sounding synth all mapped up. Teeth Engraved says, an interesting idea for mash mode might be to have it advance steps in a sequence, like the auto combos in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Ooh, that is an interesting idea. Let's put that down on our list of things to think about here. So, button mashing could also advance through a sequence. So are you thinking... Okay, so it's scrolling through a pre-selected sequence of notes with each button press. So like square is one sequence, and triangle is another sequence. Is that what you're thinking? That's an interesting idea. So you have one sequence per note. Each time you click, it advances. Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. That one's definitely going on the list. Cool. I think I'm going to start off with this idea of controlling another MIDI CC, but I like that. We could definitely build that in the future. Let's see. How about... Okay. Auto pan. And we're going to turn this into a vibrato. With something like that. And maybe the rate will be controlled by this CC. And the amount. We could do both on one. Let's see. Hey, Teeth Engraved, help me out. How do you do that trick with the auto pan where you just turn it into tremolo rather than actual panning? Is it the phase that you put it at 0 or something like that? How does this sound? Sounds pretty good as panning, too. Oh, there we go. I think that was it. Turn phase all the way down. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So yeah, this would be a good application for that. What I'm thinking of is if you're just droning along like we are and using your joysticks. Then the tremolo doesn't do anything. But if you start mashing the same notes or playing more notes, then slowly this rate and amount is going to turn up and sound pretty sick. That is my hope. What do you think, chat? Are we up to it? Beard Pill says, bam. Oh, hey, I think I'm synced up now. Maybe I was just drunk. That's fine. Whatever works, dude. All notes off. And if we can get that working, then we can do fancier things later. One little bit at a time. So here's what I'm going to do to implement this. First of all, new fucking patch. Let's not confuse ourselves. And instead of actually pressing a button for right now, I want a bang. And this bang is going to represent any button press coming in. In fact, we could even preliminarily... Is that a word? Preliminarily. We could even start out by adding an inlet, so we're actually ready to use this as a bee patcher when we're done. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, so we have a pretend button here. We're going to make use of the timer object. Let's open up the help file. Bang to start timer on the left. Bang to report the elapsed time. Okay. And bang into both inlets to report time between events. That's what we want. I thought there was something like that that wouldn't be too hard. So I'm clicking roughly once per second here, and it's giving us our time in milliseconds. 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So this is what we want. We want to take this bang, shine it up real nice, and shove it in both these inlets. And let's make sure we're getting what we expect. Make that bigger. Alright, it gives us a float value even, which is probably more than we need. Alright. So one of the tricky things with this is going to be scaling it. It's a word now. Thank you, Beard Pills. Preliminarily. Alright. How do we scale this? So we want to end up with 1 to 127 at the end, because we're talking MIDI. I need a way to visualize this. Let's get a slider in here. And slider is already set to a range of 128, with minimum being 0. So that should give us 0 to 127. That's what we want. I'm going to check because I'm paranoid, but I believe that is correct. 0, 127. Perfect. Alright, so... And that's eventually going to go to a control out, which we can set in advance here. We have these guys, which are set to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this one's going to be 5. MIDI CC 5, channel 1. And we are also going to want to have this receive MIDI map mode and a gate, so that we can map it in Ableton just like our other little dudes over there. So let's plug this in. This is a strategy you can use in any programming language. We're just thinking about our inputs and our outputs first before we get all of the actual logic in place. So gate goes in the left outlet, just like that, and the number coming from our slider goes in here. So that should work. Let's send this to the IAC driver bus. And you know what? We can go ahead and map it so that we're just ready for this and we'll hear it when it works. Let's go and turn MIDI map mode on. Oh yes, and we're going to need a send, just like up here. Receive map. Excuse me. Thank you. This bypasses the gate. I'm looking at these other joystick controls over here. So when we turn MIDI map mode on, it closes that gate. And instead we can send a bang and say map. Let's call this mash. And we'll put a send over here. Same as these guys. You are a receive. You will now be a send. Y'all with me? Feel free to stop me if you have any questions, as always. I am happy to pause and answer questions. But, Otherwise, just, chill and we'll figure this out as we go, just like we do everything else. Oh, comment this correctly. So this is going to be map mash. Lock that, save it, and let's just toggle that so we're sure. And now, let's go to map mode. We're going to map the rate. Bang. Yep, there it is. Good. And we're going to map the amount to the same thing. And we're going to reverse those, though. So over here, at minimum, we want the synced rate to actually be slow. And at maximum, we want it to be fast. Maybe not quite that fast, but whatever. We can adjust that later. And then the amount, we want at minimum the amount to actually be 0. We don't want to hear any tremolo until we've done some mashing. And at maximum, we probably don't want it all the way up. Let's put it at like 80. Alright. So now we will turn our MIDI map mode off. And let's make sure this slider works. So now if I turn this up, we should see these knobs move over here in the auto pan. And they do. Nice. Let's see how it sounds. Put toggle mode back on. Yeah, that's what we want. Hell yeah. Alright. So now we have to connect these up. We have our inputs figured out. We have our outputs figured out. So to visualize this, the more times that I press this button closer together, the smaller this number is going to be. The longer I wait, the bigger it's going to be. And it might get quite big, because it might be like minutes between notes. You never know. Good to keep in mind. And as this number gets small, what I want to see happen is for this to smoothly come up like this. And if I wait between button presses, say I've been pressing it a bunch, if I wait, I want it to slowly back down. So that's going to be a little tricky. But I think I know how to do that. Let me think for a second. We figured this out once before. I believe it was a line object. Generate timed ramp. So let's figure out the back down first. Yeah, alright. And this will be good for smoothing things as well. So, for example, generate a ramp from 50 to 150 in 1000 milliseconds if I click this. And you can see it smoothly ramps up. We want to have this smoothly ramp back down until it gets interrupted by a new value from hitting a button. So this is a piece of the puzzle right here. Let's steal this. Let's make this a little bigger so that we have some room to paint, as it were. I'm going to move this, because it's our output. I'm replacing that with this. And this is going to be our master line. So that's going to go in there. And let's say that instead of going from 50 to 150, we're going to go from, Let's just play around with this. So from 127 back to 0 over the course of, say, 5 seconds. So that's what it should kind of look like whenever I let go of a button. But it should be from whatever our current value is, not from 127. So to get current value into line, I believe it's $1. You would think it would be shown here. Okay, here's some more. More about lists and ramps. Ramp to 100 in 1,000 milliseconds. Okay, cool. That might be what we want. So instead of having a starting and an ending value, we actually just want an ending value. Let's try going and sending it 0, 5,000. So say that we're here at 94. We've let go of our button for some amount of time. Oh, nope, that went straight down. That's wrong. So we need set a starting point of 100, then ramp to 0 in 750 milliseconds. I would have thought this would do it, but it just went straight down, huh? Oh, what's happening here? It won't let me... Okay. We good? Interesting. So that's not doing what I would have thought it would. Send a single number to the left inlet without a number to the middle inlet to output the number immediately. Alright. So that's interesting. This is working here. Okay, Max. Whatever you say. If it's working here, we're gonna steal it from here. Delete this cursed line. Let's use this one instead. See if this one works. Yep. Alright. How about now 0? Okay, so that one works. Max uncertainty principle. Sure, whatever. That's fine. Oh, you know, I think I see what was happening. This didn't realize that our line object didn't know that our slider was up here. We need a way to tell this line object what our current value is. Which I believe we would do with $1 and then some ramp value. Let's give it a second. We want this to be smooth. Whoop. So if we do this, we might get a stack overflow, but I'm kind of curious. Yep, it doesn't like that at all. Okay, I think what we have to do is use set. Set is usually a message that you can use to say, hey Max, here's the current state of an object, but don't actually do anything with it. Let's try that. So set and then $, which means a changeable argument. Beardville says the most certain thing is uncertainty. That's fair in any programming language. So let's see what happens with that. Okay, we don't have a stack overflow. That's good. And we're not getting output here. That's fine. We don't need that. And when I click this, hopefully, it will slowly fall to 0. It is not. What is happening here? I guess as soon as this is getting an input, it's trying to send it out. Yeah, I thought this was going to be a little on the tricky side. But we have an input and we have an output. We have an idea of what we want to see. Let's keep playing around with this. Oop, not just $. We want $1. And then another integer box up here. Okay, so that is what I remember. You can send a number into line, and then it will add smoothing to it with the value of the number of milliseconds after the number. So you can see the slider moving in a smooth way as I move this number box. And then if I hit 0, it does smoothly go back to 0. So that's coming along. We have a way to set the value here. We just couldn't do it from the output of this slider very easily. And that's okay, really. This slider was just a visual output kind of thing. So we have a way to set our current value with some smoothing. And then what we want to do is when a certain amount of time has elapsed, we're going to trigger this. And let's give it a longer value. So that if we leave the buttons alone, we'll slowly fall to 0. So say we're all the way up here, we leave it alone for a sec, and it slowly comes down until we send a new value, and then it comes back up. That's what we want. So that's the next piece of the puzzle. We're working our way backwards to this timer. So, yeah, this is coming along. It helps to have a visual so you know what you're looking for. So I can picture this slowly coming up as we're mashing, and then we let go for a minute, and it starts to fall, and then we hit a button again, and it comes back up. So that is kind of what we want. Let's put in the timer. We need some way to say trigger this after X seconds. So let's think about that for a second. We don't need this anymore. We got that figured out. I'm going to put a comment here. Trigger this after X seconds of inactivity. So that means we need a way to time how long it's been since we last hit a button. We are measuring the time between buttons here, but we need to know how long between any press of this, and we need it to be updating so that we know when, say, 10 seconds has passed. So like a stopwatch. Let's look at timer and see if there's anything like that, because timer is just going to output with this setup as soon as we press a button again. We need this to trigger after some amount of inactivity without any new button presses. You with me, chat? Yeah, so timer doesn't output in real time. How about any related objects? Delay might do it. Yeah, I think delay would be a nice way to do this. Alright, so delay says hold a bang for some amount of time. Bang to start the delay, and then after 500 milliseconds, it just sends it back out. So that, I think, would work just fine. Yeah. And you can say stop to stop the delay. Alright. Yeah, check this out, chat. I think this would do what we want. Close that. So I'm working on the fallback to 0 part, which is incidentally an awesome song by Crowbar. You following a bit? Good. Well, that's better than nothing. Not everything has to make sense. Keep the bird's eye view in mind and you'll see where it's going. But if you have specific questions, then certainly stop me anytime. I'd like to know why I can't paste this. Please, sir? Fine. Delay. I'll do it myself. And let's give it a nice long delay of 5 seconds. Bang. And this bang is going to trigger this. This bang is going to go over here. So anytime that we press a button, this is going to start waiting 5 seconds. And if we don't press another button, it is going to then trigger this to go back to 0. If we do press another button, we want it to stop, however. So what we're going to do... Oh, hey, what is up? Oh, Teeth and Grave says maybe my favorite Crowbar song. Yeah, man, that's probably me too. Andremia, can someone type in chat how much longer the stream is going today? Oh, muted. Oh my, a raid? My first raid, oh my god. Yeah, we're probably gonna go, I would guess, another 30 minutes-ish. Lord, I feel like I've broken a... Was I not supposed to say any of this out loud? And Andremia, welcome to the chat anyway. I'm not good at this kind of thing yet. But yes, you're welcome. Anyone in your stream is welcome. That would be super awesome. We'll be here a little while longer. Because this is a complicated friggin' feature, but we are making some fun sounds. Oh, thanks, Teeth Engraved. You got nothing else to do? Yeah, I guess we'll be here for a while then. This is tricky, and it's sort of the last big feature we're doing for this here controller. It's coming along. It's getting close. So yeah, here, hang on a second. I will say, oh dude, yeah, I want to play Samurai Gun as well. But yeah, in Dreamia, I will say, probably 30 minutes, midnight at the latest. We're gonna draw the line at midnight. Probably 30 minutes-ish. We will see. Alrighty. Let's see. Alright, so here's what we want to do. We're going to stop these notes. Any button press is going to be held by this delay. And it will also hit this timer. And a new button press should hit stop. Okay, so here's what we want to do. Trigger, 2 bangs. And, oh my god, we have a raid! Thank you, Andremia, welcome! Holy crap! Welcome, you guys! This is my first raid ever! I'm so excited! Yar, mateys! Whew! Yeah, we're putting together a fun little feature here. Welcome, welcome! Raiding! Dude, I'm so excited. Teeth Engraved says, woot! Why have you done this? Says Robo Raid. We are having a party tonight, you guys. Welcome. We're actually in the middle of putting together what is probably the last feature for version 1 of this patch. Dude, army of 3, that is pretty much the army that I tend to raid with, so absolutely welcome. Any and all newcomers. So if anyone here hasn't used Max MSP before, it is a way of talking to synthesizers and just generally making things talk. It handles math for you, it handles audio, it handles visual, and what we've got going on right now is we have a PS3 controller that is hooked up to this max patch here. We've assigned a scale to our buttons, and the joysticks... Ooh! Hey, my notification worked! Hey, nice! Thanks for the new follower! Why have you done this? Welcome! I appreciate it. I guess I should drop our Discord link in here again. We just started a Discord, and it's for sharing music with each other, sharing programming stuff, and, yeah, let me copy this link and throw it in. And we can all hang out and help each other out with any programming stuff that we're stuck on. Everyone's got something to teach, everyone's got something to learn. All beginners are welcome. You can share your music, you can share your max patches, whatever you like. Share what you're listening to today. We hang out. So yeah, here we are in action. We've got this hooked up to a patch on Absinthe and a bunch of effects in Live. And you can see as I play with the joysticks, the knobs move. Woo! If I click the left joystick, we have a toggle mode. That's what we put in last week. Octave up down on the left D-pad. And velocity on left right on the D-pad. So if I hold down left, then we'll get a quiet note. And if I hold down right, then we'll get a loud note. And select is all notes off. The right joystick turns off toggle mode. And yeah, that's how it works. We got buttons or notes, joysticks do MIDI CCs, and D-pad controls octave and velocity. Thanks, Andremia! Andremia says, so cool, I appreciate it. And yeah, so this last feature we're adding is, I like mashing buttons in fighting games. I also like actually playing fighting games. But I think that it would be real cool to have something that the more notes you're playing, the more this slider goes up, and then if you leave it alone for a while, it slowly comes back down. So that's what we're working on building right now. And you can even hear it in action. So here's what we got so far. We've got this mapped to an auto pan, and let me get back in here. And if I turn this up, whoop, I have to lock the patch. Then you can hear we get this tremolo happening. And if I hit this button, it's going to slowly... Whoop. We're still working on this. Yeah, there we go. So if I hit this button, it'll slowly come back down. So we're trying to make it so that the more notes you hit, the bigger this slider gets. And then if you leave it alone for a minute, then it'll come back down. Everyone with me? And also to anyone who's new here, I used to be a teacher, so I am happy to answer questions anytime. Just feel free to stop me, and I'm happy to explain to beginners what the hell is going on here. Because I remember being a beginner, and yeah, you're always learning. So anyway, that's where we're at. So we were just trying to figure out this little puzzle here. So we've got this button here, which is going to represent any of our button presses on our controller. And what I'm thinking, so when it comes in here, these are patch cables, just like you have in your studio for sending audio around, but these are sending numbers and button presses around. So this button press is going to come in here and hit this object, which says trigger 2 more button presses. That's what the B stands for. It means bang. So the first one is actually going to trigger this stop message so that we stop any previous buttons. And the next one is going to start this countdown on this delay object. this delay object snags a button press and says, hold on to it for however long this is. We have it set to 5 seconds. And then after that amount of time, unless it receives a stop, it's going to send it out here. So that is what I'm thinking will happen. So let's put our slider up here. Pretend we've been mashing along. And I'm going to press this button. And we shouldn't see any button presses at all until I stop for 5 seconds. And then we should see this flash. Yes! Hey, it worked! And then the slider goes back down. Hot damn. We're coming along. Okay, so that's cool. We've got that bit of the puzzle figured out. N says, I have yet to play with Max. I'm currently trying to get Ableton to talk to Unreal Engine via OSC MIDI. Wow. That's awesome. Isn't Unreal Engine for video games? I have no idea how that would work with Ableton and OSC, but boy, call me when you get it figured out. That sounds awesome. Yeah, Max MSP is tons of fun. There's great documentation, lots of examples, but I try to do things in a way on this channel so you can actually see how it comes together little bit by little bit and see how a patch forms from the beginning, because there, I think, is not a lot of that out there. Actually getting to finish a project is tough. So, alright, we got that bit of the puzzle. Now what we need, we have this timer object over here, which measures how many milliseconds happen between button presses. So, the faster we press, the smaller this number gets. So we need a way to translate that into a value for our slider here. And then when we stop for 5 seconds, this should trigger us to go back to 0. That's the idea. So, to do that, I think we want a scale object. Scale says take two input values, a low and a high, and then map them to a low and high output value. And just getting our ingredients together here. We also want to limit this, because if I walk away from the computer for like 5 minutes, we're going to get a really, really big number. So let's say that this just stops at... So, what's the friggin' object for that? Clip, that's right. Clip. So we are never going to go below 0, because no one can mash faster than 0 milliseconds. Not even Grand Pooh Bear. And I can't see a reason to have this be more than... Well, after 5 seconds, we're going to trigger this slider to go back down. So let's do that. Let's keep sticking to 5 seconds. That's a pretty good amount. So we're going to take that, and that gives us our input values. So we're going to be between 0 and 5,000. And we want to translate that to a 0 value. It should actually make this slider big. So let's say 127, because we're talking putting this into MIDI. Teeth Engraved Mitch Flower Power might be able to, yeah. Oh yes, he's the one with the inhuman mashing. I bet he could break this patch. Yeah, you're probably right. But, I mean, at the worst, he's just going to get a 0 here, and it's going to put this slider all the way up. So, even he, I maintain, cannot break this. Unless he breaks my controller, but he wouldn't do that, because he's nice. So yeah, when we are at 0, when we're being Mitch Flower Power, that's the fastest we could possibly mash. That's going to translate to a 127. We might want to change that with a little bit of an offset, but we'll see how this works. And when we're at 5,000, which is the longest we can wait, then this is going to come back to 0. I feel like we're going to want to adjust these, so I'm actually going to add some little number boxes here. Happy little number boxes. Low input, high input. And then 2 more here for the output. And yeah, we don't need that. So this scale is going to go over here. This number box is going into what is called a message box, just a little different, where we are saying the $1 means wait for an input. And this 1000 here just means smooth whatever numbers we're getting by 1000 milliseconds. So again, to any newcomers here, like, don't worry if you don't understand every single little object here. It's a really important part of learning any kind of programming language, or really anything, that you might not get every single detail all at once. And you shouldn't let that trip you up. If I got tripped up by the fact that I don't understand every single iota of code that I have to deal with on a daily basis, then I would never get anything done at work. But I do have an understanding that if I need to, I can go figure it out. You can go and figure out any one of these objects when you need them. That's what documentation is for. And so bird's eye view is we're getting some amount of time between each button press here. We're limiting that to 0 to 5 seconds. And then we got to scale that somehow to get into this slider so that it goes up as the number goes down. That's what this scale is doing. All right. So let's see how that works. So I'm kind of pressing every little less than a second here, 700 milliseconds, and we're hovering at about 100. That's good. But I think we want that lower. So yes, we are going to have to adjust this. How do we want to adjust it? Do we want to adjust the input values or the output values? I guess probably the output values. But that's what these are here for. So let's try making this bigger, so that we have to try harder to get to the top. Oh, nope, that's the opposite. That's not what we want. 100. Let's try that. Cool. So around 700 milliseconds now, we're hovering at about 80. That's cool. I think we want that even lower, because I can mash a lot faster than that. And I'm not even Mitch Flower Power. So, there we go. So, around 600 milliseconds, we're hovering at about 50. That's looking better, I think. I think even more so. Let's try this. Cool. Now we're hovering at around 35. Alright, I'm going to go faster. Okay, that's not going up enough. So I'm going to just keep playing with these numbers a bit. See if I can find a sweet spot. And what's working, which is nice, is if I leave this alone for a few seconds, we should see this fall from its current value back to 0. Good. Good times. Alright. Nice. So what I'm seeing is... What am I seeing? Ethan Grave says, set mash speed to chain gun blast. Oh, and I'm sorry, I missed a couple of comments from you. And says, I'm trying to make my stream more interesting by creating some real-time visuals that get triggered by Ableton. Ooh, we can definitely chat about that more. Jitter is great for that. Because you can run all of this stuff directly from Ableton and have it be synced up. And Jitter is what you want to look into. That is what does all of the visual stuff. And you can load movies into it and do really cool effects. And, yeah, it is quite confusing, but you will get there. And, yeah, getting there slowly is the name of the game. We've been building this for a few weeks, and it just takes time. It takes as much time as it needs. We're getting close here, though. So, alright, I have to really think about this scale object. So I'm going to just focus in on that a bit. We need to just scale this in a way that it feels good. And then all we need to do is connect this up to our buttons, and we are golden. And I'm going to line this up because I want it to be pretty. I'm going to put an F in chat. I'm going to put an F here because I want to just play with this. So given a 0, also I'm going to reinitialize this because it's stuck with some other numbers from earlier. Whoops. Okay. So now we're back where we were. I just want to see how this behaves. So right now, I think the biggest thing is actually we don't need this to be all the way up at 5,000. 5 seconds is kind of a long time. And after that amount of time, we're going to be already bringing the slider back down. So let's try 3 seconds. That gives us a bit less to have to worry about. So 0 should give us 127. 500. Half a second gives us 105. We can go a lot faster than that, though. 200 gives us almost 127. Let's see. Thinking. Visualizing this is tricky. We are going to have to play with this a bit. I think this is getting closer, though. Let's see how it works. Whoop. Okay, we also have to limit this because we got a negative number right there, and we don't want that. So let's clip this as well, because we don't want anything outside of 0 to 127. Okay. Actually, that's pretty good. So the fastest... I'm not using the video game controller. I'm tapping on the mouse right now, and I'm getting, like, in the hundreds of milliseconds, and that's taking me close to 127. And probably you're not going to get that fast, because this isn't really... You know, you're still going to be playing notes here. We want it to be musical. But I play 2 notes right next to each other, and it goes up. I wait for a bit, it goes back down. So I think I want to clip this a bit more, though, because really I don't want it to kick in until you start playing fast. Let's clip this to 2 seconds. Yeah, let's see how that works. Wait for a second. And it's going to go down. And I think the other thing we could adjust right off the bat here is make this trip down a little slower and make this delay amount a bit faster. So we don't have to wait as long for the slider to go back down. You know, I think that's probably close enough for us to try it out. That should be pretty fun. Alright. Let it go. And there it comes back down. Alright. Maybe not quite that slow on the way back down. Let's bring this back down to 5,000. This kind of fine-tuning is necessary. It is the intersection of programming and music. Gotta have an ear for it. And here we're playing video games too, essentially. But yeah, let's try that. I feel good about that. Okay. A little less time here. 2,000 on the delay. Let's hook it up. So we're going to turn this into a B patcher, I suppose. We have an inlet here already. Actually, you know what? This is small enough. Let's just put it right in. Let's just drop it right in. Fuck it. I don't want to have another external patch for this. And we're not going to have more than one of these. So B patchers are good for when you have multiple of the same bit of code. Like, for example, the notes on the buttons over here, each of these is a B patcher. That's because we've got 8 notes to worry about. So yeah, let's just make this one little chunk of code. You come over here. You come up here. That's our master button right there. And I'm going to just copy this. And I'm going to unlock this, and let's just go find some space over here. This patch is getting big. You, over here. Alright, let's set this back to the IAC bus. And we've already mapped it over in Ableton. Now we just need to bring all of our buttons over to this button. One button to rule them all. We are almost there, chat. So we have square, triangle, circle, X, L1, L2, R1, R2, copy, paste. Bring these over here. Now they're all in a heap. Okay. Nathan Graves says Big Jeff in ink. Yes. Alright. Now we need to make all of these receives, and then I think Bob's your uncle. Or, you know, maybe Jeff. Now here's where text programming languages have an advantage, because I could do this way faster with another little find and replace. Max does have a find and replace, but it, at least the last time I tried it, didn't work that reliably. And we have a lot of these sends and receives, and I don't want to fuck them up. So I'm going to just do this manually. Here we go, last one. So these receive a bang from each of our buttons, and we're going to put them all here. Holding down Option, I can do this fast, though, I believe. Boop. Oh, no, I can't. Whatever. We must be patient. All of these in here. All right. All right, chat. Hope for the best. Let's see if it works. Ethan Graves says, yep, you can always count on me for Ashen's references from 11 years ago. And thank God for that. Save. Gotta remember to save your work. I wonder... Yeah. Okay. Let's see if it works. What do you think, chat? Is it gonna work the first time out? I feel like we've been pretty thorough with this, but you never know. This is our next big bonfire. Hey. Yo. Dude, it is working. Well, hot damn. And Dreamia says, "Nice! Thank you!" Yo, that's pretty fun. And this way, if we hit toggle mode on, it goes up for a bit, and then as the note sustains, it comes back down. Dude, I'm stoked. And I think that's a perfect place to call it for today. Let's go jump into our notes file and write a happy little done. And I would say that those are the version 1 features. We just have a couple little details to take care of, and we have to think about making the interface nice. And that is going to be the job of next week, and then y'all can have this patch! I'm going to share it in Discord after we get it all nicely cleaned up, and then you can have at it, and we can all share live sets with what we plug it into. And it's going to be a grand old time. Hit save, and... Alright, let's try one more scale, just because it's fun. Let's do some... Okay, chat, pick a scale. Phrygian, Lydian, Locrian. I'm going to do Phrygian. Get evil for a minute. That is fun. Up an octave. Lydian flat 7. We didn't include that one. We can add that some other time. Alright, that'll go in the nice to haves. Just because I like Lydian flat 7. But we can do Lydian. Let's do a key change. Down an octave. Sick. That is fun. I'm stoked. And all notes off. I said all notes off. Maybe it's just feeding back. Alright, chat. I think that is a good place to call it. Oh yeah, and you should totally check out Ashens. Ashens is funny as hell. Alright, shall we go raid someone? What do you say? Let's pass on the love. Let's see who's still awake out there. Thank you everybody for joining us again. This was so much fun. I can't believe we got raided. And yeah, thank you to everybody for joining us. I guess I'll pop the Discord link in here once more because I have it. And copy. Share it with your friends. Everybody's welcome. Oh yes, the Big Jeff thing was awesome. Oh, well thank you, Ann. And your stream earlier was awesome as well. I will catch y'all on the flip side. Let's see who we can raid. Is Twitch gonna be mean to me again? Why can't I raid? What the heck? Save? There we go. Now we can raid. Who is up? Let me see. let's go and raid Z Awesome Sauce. They're a friend I met on Reddit. They're playing Sea of Thieves right now, and they are cool. And thank you for coming. Here we go. I will catch y'all. Oh yeah, bonus stream on Thursday. I think it's going to be a good time. Catch y'all on the flip side.